Hello everyone, nice to meet you online. Today, I will tell you about line design system that can improve work efficiency and product completeness. Before I get started, let me introduce myself briefly. I am Jeaho from Line Plus, and I am a senior lead and the PM of LDS, which stands for Line Design System. The current design system project, in fact, is one of the challenges for me. So, okay, let's get started. Today, I'd like to talk about 4 parts of the line design system. I will talk about the reason why we established the LDS and the structure and the elements of the design system. And then I will talk about the design system for Line Messenger app and for Line's global family services. Lastly, I will explain what to consider when building a design system. First, let me tell you about the reason why we built the design system. I did mention this last year, and the numbers came from the starting point, which was June of 2019. So 400 designers worked on 1,500 projects. Then what was the problem for 400 designers who worked on multiple projects simultaneously? And not only for designers, but what issues were there for developers most directly connected to product production? First, the designer's confusion. What button is the final version, and what color should I use, and what font and which icon to be used? Designers had to have repetitive communication and design work on these areas. Then what about the developers? Let me give you an example. The picture you see here is a part of the tab menu UI that existed in Line at that time. If you click on tab menu, it switched to a page and the function was the same. And at that time, developers were having a bit unnecessary communication about why the tab design had to be redesigned. And when we looked at the problem, the UI of the same function was being designed differently, leading to a waste of dev resources. Repeated design work was driving up the communication cost, and sometimes different UX flow had to be used. In the end, there was no centralized design managing. And in order to solve this, I thought that we needed a design system for all. Design libraries for product designers and common UX guidelines for planner and UX designers. And creating UI components with code for developers that can reduce wasted development resources can improve our work efficiency and provide consistent UI and UX to Line products. Efficiency, good design, high standard were the 3 objectives that we set. And we started building the design system. The picture shows the general steps when we do a project. After the first kickoff, we do a spec fix, wireframing, design fix, dev, QA, and release. All the project members, from wireframing to QA, if we use this design system, we could lower the communication cost and we could lower the repetitive work, so we could have more efficient work process. Then, let me tell you about the system and elements of the Line design system. In the early days of the system, we focused the design system around the Line application. However, there are many global family services in Line. Other than Line application with the messenger feature, commerce, finance, entertainment, and ads were all included as Line's global family services. one line application and many global family services. Can we run it with one design system? We tried to apply the design system to other global family services, but we found out that it was not easy to apply that to all family services. So we have two design systems under Line Design System. First is LDSM, which is Design System for Line Application. LDSM is the design system for the Line application, including messenger functions. And the second one is LDSG, which is the design system for many global family services. LDSG is a web-based design system for family services with independent brand and modular platform. And here are the fundamental elements: typography, color, layout, interaction based on line design principle, and UX guideline and component spec documentation and codes for iOS, Android web development are all included. So I would like to tell you about LDSM, which is the design system for Line Messenger. The screen that you see is when Line application was first launched. It was focused on a messenger function and it had a simple UI. This is Line as is, including messenger. It has content recommendation, social media, news, fintech, and finance. It supports a lot of features and contents to users. So looking at the past and the present screens of Line application, what do you think were the concerns from our side? For a long time, the design system did not have a common design guideline and common UX guide. So we had a lot of legacy. And we needed to remove some legacy. In order to remove some legacy, what did we have to do first? We had to lay the foundation from the beginning. There are 6 foundations in Line Design System. First is the design principle, which is the common value and principles. And second is Line Voice, which is providing a clear and considerate UX for users. And third is consistent color. And fourth is typography per region. Fifth is iconography. And sixth is layout, which is consistent. And last time at 2019 Dev Day, I've talked about the foundation. And this year, I will tell you more about the icon, graphic guides update, and color guides. First is the icon guide. So the design system team doesn't have to make all the icons. We provided the guide so that designers from local can create new icons when necessary. If you look closely, when making the icon, we use the 24 by 24 size. Padding is 2 pixels. Key shape and stroke and radius and angles are all set so that consistent icons can be made. This was the guideline. And we have over 200 basic icons in the library. And we provide that in SVG, AI, and sketch files. And moreover, not just for simple icons, but for pictogram variation, we use the same method. This is the graphic guide. Since Line is a global service, we have to encompass many different cultures and ages. We had to have the pictograms look bright and friendly. The designers had to make the pictograms with the consistent tone and manner, so we gave a guide about the expressions and the ratio, and we had a guide including about the gender, personalities, and ratio. Also, we have produced a guide just in case the designers had to make illustrations urgently. We made various movements. Before building the design guide, there was no clear guide to color. So like the screen that you see, we used color picker to extract the color. So when designers were working, because they couldn't know about the exact color, designers used a little bit of different colors. In order to minimize the number of colors, we chose 30 primary colors that matched well with the forest screen color of line. But 30 primary colors were not enough to address the needs for line application. So for some areas like promotion banners, we provided the rainbow color guide so that they can freely use the colors. And we allowed each service to make and use colors. So this is the promotion banner and icons with the rainbow colors applied. Primary colors are the basic colors. So we made into label and we made into code and use the colors. If the designer uses a different color where the primary color should be used, a warning pops up at the development stage. Next, I will talk about the most important part of the design stage, which is the components section. The picture is the production stage of the component that we defined. First, we have to identify the UI history that should be made into components and define the specs, and then work on component design. And also think about the process of defining the UX guide. And finally, we should include that in the design library. The component for LDSM includes basic component and team component. Basic components are the basic UI elements, and team components include components that are for line call or timeline or line search. So it is only for some specific services in line. This is a part of the basic components. Top header, GNB, empty page, button, icon, tab, pagination are the ones with the basic UI elements. And this is a part of the tooltip component guide. It talks about the structure for tooltip and text-only type, and the types of tooltips with buttons and layout, UI's common guideline. And since tooltip does not allow customizing in component, it says that you should not separate it to use. So it talks about how to use it in the sketch design library. And also, using these basic components, designers can make more components for media, contents, and buttons. So these are the examples of those messages. We call these messaging types as flex messages. It doesn't only include just text messages, but includes various contents. So it's a pop-up type of components. As you can see, the button components, which are a part of basic components, are being used consistently. This is the screen from the designer when they are working on it. They use the design library, and you can change pagination function in the library, which is a basic function. So this is an example of making a list type of screen. So designers, according to the needs, they can utilize the basic components to create the page and easily change the UI characteristics to make consistent UI page. Next is team component. And here are the examples. The examples are from line timeline and line search. Team components are the components that are being used in certain services or areas. So this is the example of team components of line search. Components that are related to search are defined here, and you can see the collection of the search results, and it's comprised of the components that are only for search. This is an example of the team components of line timeline. It's only for timeline, so the UI components are defined just for timeline. When creating these team components, there's an important thing. Team components are made by team's designers and they contribute with the design system. So it has to be based on the foundation of the design system. So continued communication and discussion are needed. The components that are created in this process needs UX guide as well. UX guide is an important part of being directly connected to usability, and if you use the components without the UX guide, it can very harm the user experience. We have defined 6 UX guides: confirmation, UX flow according to user feedback, shared modules, user selected actions, and navigation patterns that are used in Line application. This is a part of the UX guide for sharing. In Line app, how we share, and it shows about the UX flow and necessary icons per OS, and the entry points for sharing are all included in the guide. This is the example of model UX guideline. It shows the difference between forward navigation and model, and the type of modals used in Line application, and the navigation of the model. This is the interaction guide. In a product, interaction motion reflects the user feedback clearly, and it is an important component that can increase the completeness of the product. We make it based on Lottie, JSON, and SVG animation, and the animation values have been defined so that the iOS and Android can feel the same way. And with the interaction guide, we try to minimize the gap between the design and the actual development results. We also offer code snippets for developers for that purpose. So now I'd like to talk about LDSG, which is the design system for Line Global Family Services. I have told you that we have many family services in Line. Global family services have different business direction and concept and identity. So having one design system to control all parts of the service is not easy. So to give you more detail, for LDSM, it's the design for one product, which is Line application. So one design system can control and manage. But LDSG has many products. So designers and design system team are making the system together, so it's more divided. So because of those reasons, since LDSG has more products, LDSG has to be more flexible than LDSM. In order to run LDSG in a flexible manner, we have to keep this, which is foundation. Foundation is the design principle that you have to keep. Based on the same foundation, you have to design so that you can share the components that are made by other people. The foundation for LDSG include 6 UI components. Color and typography are the same as LDSM. And by combining the 6 components, you can freely make components. Using the foundation, I will show you how it can be customized. So button on the left, is the basic component that doesn't have any foundation applied. Its color is negative red. It's written in Japanese. Radius, shadow are all applied like that, and you will see this button. So you can change the value in the foundation to change the component for many situations. Just like this, LDSG reflects the needs of each service designer, and it uses the basic components for scalability, and we can we provide a universal theme set that can easily reflect the target user base and purpose of each family service. You can change the value in the foundation flexibly to apply for different services. So this is the basic components for LDSG. Avatar, chips, control, input form, tooltip are basic UI components that are defined, and it is using LDSM components, and we also provide variation for dark mode. This is a part of the button component guide. I have described the basic components of the button and the description of the button's status by button, and the type of button, and the general usage in the UI. And also with the component guide, this is a part of the web component code that we provide. Basic buttons, outline buttons, deactivations, and how to change the size are provided in the code so that they can easily use it. This is universal theme set, which is another part of LDSG. The universal theme set provided in LDSG can help services to have visual identity, and it helps to create the concept for each service. And you can also create pages for each themes when you need to launch quickly. The universal theme set include top header area and the neutral body area, where you can combine components. First is top header area. If you look at the left side, it includes the BI of the family service or the name of the service, and it all match with the buttons. Service designers can change the name of the service according to the needs of their service. They can put and move around the buttons, and they can freely choose the theme sets according to their service. Before I show you the contents to the neutral body area, I want to explain that since family services are based on web mostly, when placing contents, we have to have the grid guide for neutral body area so that it can be shown well on any devices. Based on the grid guide, we made this body parts theme set. There is not a particular color, but this we newly began, so we don't have a lot of types. But these types of theme sets will be more expanded with the designers of each region. So far, I have talked about the overall line design systems progress. So the designers are the first primary customers to design system. And if the designers well understand the UX guideline and the UI components that they are using, it can lay the foundation to enhance the completeness of the line products. Lastly, I want to share the thoughts and insights that I learned while establishing the design system. Design system is not just a style guide. In the design system, style guide, foundation, component, UX guideline should be included, and also the design philosophy of the brand should be included. And also, in the design system, you have to think more about who is going to use this and how do you use it before what's included in there. The design system is useless if no one uses it. You have to think about who is going to use and how they are going to use this. Design system should keep high quality. If it's not in a good quality, the people using the design system will not use the system. If the member ignores the design or UX guide provided, and uses it by making changes, you have to think about the completeness of the product. Having a near perfect design system can be a reason for the members to use this design system. The design system must be updated and shared among the members. Line Design System has a regular update and official website, and we use the application of the Line Design System to release. And in website, we have the Foundation, Sketch Design Library, and UX Guideline. And in app, it shows how the components move, and we provide the code. Line Design System website is used only internally now, but we are preparing to open it to the public. Also, we want the members to access to design system easily. We collect questions coming in through Slack and emails, and we share the answers to those questions in a cartoon type of content called LDS story. Finally, as the fruit of the Line Design System, we will soon be able to present the new Line app made based on the design system. New Line app will have more consistent UI component and UX guideline minus the legacy. So I hope you like it. So thank you so much for listening into this long presentation on Line Design System. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.